The moon hung low in the sky, casting a ghostly glow over the quiet ranch. Cole moved like a shadow, his footsteps silent against the packed dirt. His heart pounded in his chest, each beat echoing the urgency of his mission. The barn door creaked open, and there stood his prize, a magnificent stallion, its coat shimmering under the pale moonlight. He whispered softly to calm the beast, his hands quick and sure as he saddled it. Time was slipping away. The rancher and his men were known for their ruthlessness. If they caught him, there would be no mercy. With one final glance over his shoulder, Cole mounted the stallion and spurred it into a gallop, the wind whipping through his hair as he rode into the night. He had no illusions about the danger ahead, but in that moment, freedom tasted sweeter than fear. He rode through the night, the stolen stallion eating up the miles. The sky began to lighten, turning from deep indigo to the pale pink of dawn. Cole knew he couldn't outrun the rancher's wrath forever. Durango was a small town. News of his theft would spread like wildfire. He needed a plan, a way to disappear. Texas. The word echoed in his mind. Texas, with its vast plains and endless skies, promised anonymity. A chance to start anew. It was a long shot, a dangerous gamble, but it was the only option he had left. He ate slowly, savoring each bite, his senses alert for any sign of pursuit. He wasn't wrong to be worried. On the horizon, a plume of dust rose, a telltale sign of riders approaching. Cole felt a chill run down his spine. The law, they were relentless. These men, driven by duty and a thirst for justice, or maybe it was just the bounty on his head. He urged the stallion onward, pushing the animal harder than he wanted. The land started to change, becoming flatter, the mountains giving way to rolling hills. He knew he was getting closer to the border, closer to freedom. But the riders were getting closer too. A shot rang out, echoing across the plains. He reached for the old revolver tucked into his belt, a gift from his father, a reminder of a life left behind. The chase was on. Cole rode like a demon, the wind whipping through his hair, the stallion's powerful strides eating up the ground. He could hear the posse behind him, their shouts carried on the wind. They were gaining on him, their horses fresher, their pursuit fueled by the law. He ducked low over the stallion's neck, urging the animal onward. They thundered across the plains, a blur of dust and desperation. He risked another glance back. The posse was closer now, their faces grim masks of determination. He had to lose them. Then they were airborne, sailing through the air, the ground rushing up to meet them. The landing was rough, jarring every bone in his body. Cole rolled, scrambling to his feet, the taste of dust and blood filling his mouth. The stallion whinnied, shaking its head, but it was on its feet, miraculously unharmed. The ravine stretched before him, a natural barrier between him and his pursuers. He could hear the posse's shouts above, their horses slipping and sliding on the loose shale. They wouldn't be able to follow him down here, not without risking their necks. He had a chance now, a slim one, to disappear into the vastness of Texas. He rode through the ravine for what seemed like hours, the walls closing in on either side. The air was cool and damp, a welcome change from the scorching heat of the plains. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the ravine, Cole emerged into a wider expanse. He allowed himself a brief respite, a moment to catch his breath and gather his strength. He knew the posse wouldn't give up easily. They would be scouring the countryside, their anger at his escape fueling their pursuit. He had to keep moving, put as much distance between them as possible. He found a stream, its water clear and cold. He drank deeply, feeling the life-giving liquid quench his thirst. The stallion drank too, its sides heaving. Cole gathered some berries and roots, his stomach growling with hunger. He shared his meager meal with the animal, a silent acknowledgement of their shared plight, but he was alive. He pushed on, driven by a desperate hope and the knowledge that to stop was to be caught. The landscape of Colorado gave way to the stark beauty of New Mexico. The air grew hotter, drier, the sun beating down with relentless fury. The stallion, his constant companion, seemed unfazed by the harsh conditions. The animal moved with a grace and power that never ceased to amaze Cole. They were two souls, bound together by circumstance, their destinies intertwined. Cole knew he could never have made it this far without the stallion's strength and loyalty. He rode at night, using the stars as his guide. He avoided towns and settlements, wary of prying eyes and loose tongues. He had to take the risk. He rode into the camp, his hand hovering near his gun. The cowboys looked up, their faces wary, their hands resting on their own weapons. They had seen his kind before, men on the run, their eyes haunted by past sins. Cole met their gaze, his expression carefully neutral, his body language conveying a message of peace. Water, he rasped, his voice hoarse from disuse, and food if you can spare it. He offered them a handful of coins, his last bit of currency. The cowboys exchanged glances, a silent conversation passing between them. One of them, older than the others, with a weathered face and eyes that seemed to hold the weight of the world, nodded his head. The tension in the air eased slightly. He left before dawn, slipping away while the cowboys still slept. He rode hard, pushing himself and the stallion to their limits. The days blurred into one another, a relentless cycle of sun and dust and the constant fear of pursuit. He was running on fumes now, his body fueled by sheer willpower. He started to see signs of civilization again, small farms and ranches dotting the landscape. He gave them a wide berth, his trust in strangers shattered by his experiences. He was close now. He could feel it in his bones. Texas. The word was a prayer on his lips. He had made it. The river was wider than he expected, its current swift and treacherous. Cole hesitated for a moment, gauging the depth and speed of the water. He had come too far to be stopped now, but he knew better than to underestimate the power of nature. The stallion snorted, pawing at the muddy bank. Eager to cross, he urged the animal forward, feeling the chill of the water as it swirled around his legs. The current tugged at them, threatening to pull them downstream, but the stallion was strong, its powerful legs carrying them steadily towards the opposite shore. Cole held his breath, his heart pounding in his chest until they emerged on the other side. Soaked to the bone but triumphant, he dismounted, his legs shaky beneath him. He stood there for a long moment, letting the sun dry his clothes and the reality of his situation sink in. He was in Texas now, a land where a man could disappear, reinvent himself, and start anew. He mounted the stallion, feeling a surge of hope and anticipation. He had nothing but the clothes on his back, a few dollars hidden in his boot and the gun at his side, but he was free. He was beholden to no one, his destiny his own to shape. He turned the stallion's head south toward the vast, uncharted expanse of Texas. He rode for days, the land unfolding before him like an endless canvas. He saw sprawling ranches, bustling towns, and vast herds of cattle grazing on the open range. He saw cowboys, their faces weathered by the sun and wind, their eyes hardened by the harsh realities of life on the frontier. He saw opportunity in their eyes, a chance to prove himself, to make something of his life. He was home. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and share it with your friends. Stay tuned for more adventures.